Do whatever it takes to win. If I'm insignificant in the grand scheme of things, I can do my worst and no one will notice. If power is inherently evil, holding back won't save your soul. Just fight with both barrels, and trust the opposition to do the same. Winner takes all. "12:59 p.m., July 1st, 2086. Gatesfield Memorial Hospital. Oh, thank you. You're a lifesaver. And the next time that bridezilla texts you, just turn your phone off." Chatty guy. Must have been due to go on break. When he tried and failed to find the witness's medical record, his datapad had the name blacked out. I did see that they have a Catechist Executive 3, more expensive than David's, which means that they most likely. How'd you do that? You need to hold the button to get the doors to close faster. Mashing does nothing. That is not what I meant. There were many others who arrived before us. How did you get us down here so quickly? Well, I didn't do anything. It was that nurse who escorted us. Yes, but you managed to get a stranger like him to help you with so few words, so little information. I don't think you even gave him your name. Haven't you heard of the golden rule? Of course I have. Treat others how you would want to be treated. Wrong. Treat others how they want to be treated. How they would want to be treated. He wanted someone he could vent to. He wanted someone to pay attention to him, and he wanted to feel appreciated. Which meant he'd be eager to help given the chance. Even just reading someone's mood is quite difficult. How can you know how another person wants to be treated? There are no mind readers. No one can ever know anything about what anyone's thinking. Maybe not even themselves. Doesn't matter if they're your parent, your twin, your lover. It'll always be a gamble. That is not a very comforting sentiment. Well, I think it's fun. Only because you're good at it. How did you get good at it? Same as anything. Observation and practice. Must have been observing and practicing for a very long time then. So we proceed down the hall, bear left, look for the fourth door. I'm gonna open the one that says morgue on it. Damn girl, you fine. You got like a mechanical arm and shit. Oh my god. Peak character design. We love to see it. You are so cool. Oh hey. Slap that verb. Come on in. Don't stand out there in the cold. Wouldn't be accurate. Sorry about the chill in here, but I run a little hot. You can see my roommates never complain. Yumi Sato, medical examiner. Dr. Sato, just the lady I wanted to see. Though I didn't expect that I'd get to. The fact that they've assigned a medical examiner and not some ad or junior means. Oh, you can just call me Yumi. And you're? Morgan. I represent the deceased. The deceased? Oh, the deceased. Asher D. Wait, really? That's weird. I thought this time slot was scheduled for a group of noble PR people to... Who? I know. Weird, right? Well, what the hell do I know? I was getting tired of hosting Megs anyway. Gotta finish typing up this report before we talk shop. But in the meantime, feel free to make yourself at home. Sorry, I was scratching my leg and it was hindering me talking. What's this? The hospital's getting renamed? Oh, guess it's some other hospital that got snapped up. Hospital renamed to thank Ikaria family. Ikaria? Hope that's right. In a ribbon-cutting ceremony held uptown today, Plotter Memorial Hospital was formally renamed the Northeastern Ikaria Medical Complex in recognition of the family's incredibly generous donations over the last several years. It's the latest in a string of philanthropic efforts by the family to result in a name change, after they paid for the renovations to the orchestra hall and the retrofitting of what used to be known as the Scout Arena. But it wasn't so long ago that the Ikaria family were better known for drawing blood than donating it. Kabana wa watashi wa Elvin desu. Back before the 50s, they had a fearsome reputation for cutthroat business practices that had their business rivals going so far as to accuse them of involvement with organized crime. After the founding of Renegade Medical over 25 years ago and its subsequent sale, the Ikaria have moved out of the business world and into the upper echelons of society that are sometimes mockingly referred to as the Neobility, a generation of newly minted aristocrats born from the unique and chaotic economics of the mid-21st century and the Red Decade. When asked her opinion on those who label her family House Ikaria at the hospital's renaming ceremony, Renegade board member Mirai Ikaria had this to say: "In this country, anyone can make a name for themselves so long as they're willing to put in the work. Mock new money all you want, but the truth is that success is all about reinventing yourself, and the only ones uncomfortable with that are... We're working really hard to print out the rest of your article, character by character. It's tough work, but we'd be able to go about it a lot faster if you'd leave a tip. Want to drop your payment info in the jar?" The Arakaria. Guess they weren't always in the same line of work. Now they're passing their name wherever they get themselves up. All the Neobility are eager to prop up their image wherever they can. Hang on, gotta scratch my leg again. But that must go double for the Ikarias. Assuming the truth about their criminal past is anywhere close to the rumors. It's a lot of screens. There's gotta be a diminishing returns on productivity. Why do you have so many monitors, ma'am? Can't just ask someone that. Good question. Every quarter when they do inventory and budgeting, they ask me if I need anything, and I never do, so I submit a blank form. But I guess a while back there was a +1 in a spreadsheet somewhere and no one's ever corrected, and so... boom. I get 4 new monitors every year. Do you run out of things to use them for? Sometimes. This year I've started running 2 dramas at once when I'm doing work, which helps. Watching 2 television shows at the same time helps you do rote work. Helps me use up the screens. I see. Are these all dead bodies? One would hope so. Only meant that I'm surprised to see them stored here. This is just a backlog, which suggests a higher murder rate than the public data would lead one to expect. Do you only examine bodies for the police, doctor? Oh, I wish. Most of my job involves confirming COD on natural deaths for insurance endorsements. Insurers want to blame the mod for failing, mod makers want to blame the stiff for not exercising enough. Family says the company insurance plan would pay for mods, but not a gym membership. Yeah. That whole wall there is suspected defective liver mods, suspected leaking internal bio batteries, suspected CCIC. CCIC? Climate change induced complications. You can prove that climate change contributed to an otherwise natural death? Very, very rarely. If it can be proved, what does that mean for the family of the deceased? Plus or minus 14% of the life insurance payout. I mean, it's most of what I do, and I don't dislike my job, it's just so much of what I do just boils down to telling a bunch of cheapskates how to split the dead men's bill. It's enough to make homicide feel like a breath of fresh air. Is she finishing up over there? Right, okay. So what's up? Thanks for your time, Dr. Sato. My first question would be, what was the cause of death? Oh wow, hi there, cute android. Didn't even realize it was really cute. Skin that's remarkable. Even just looking close, you can tell they really are warm. Still not quite human body temperature, but they've come a long way. The early gens all looked flushed, felt like they were always running a fever, and they ran like it too. Even 2 years ago, the average warm android only lasted. Sorry, but the circumstances surrounding this particular case call for expediency. Right. So what can I tell you? Cause of death. Were you able to determine the cause of death? Well, cause of death, sure. Got that much figured out at least. Why doesn't that sound particularly reassuring? Dr. Asher died of respiratory failure. Not enough oxygen in the blood, not enough blood going to the brain. Root cause being widespread depression of the central nervous system. What would the symptoms be? What would it have looked like? Lightheadedness followed by dizziness, then headache, slurred speech, exhaustion, loss of consciousness, and finally respiratory arrest. Report shows that the EMTs tried intubation, then resuscitation through electrical stimulation repeatedly. Try saying that entire sentence 3 times fast. 3 times, not 5 times, 3 times. By the time he got to the emergency room, they were desperate enough to attempt direct artificial blood oxygenation, but it was too late. And you're certain of all of this? Oh, well, most of it, sweetie. Most of it? Yeah, it's turned into quite the puzzle, and I'm used to having more pieces to start with. I was surprised a man as rich and famous as him didn't have any kind of biomes, but his files show he wasn't a viable candidate for modding. Yeah, that's right. Without that kind of first-hand tech, we don't have nearly as much data as we'd like. But he was extensively monitored from the moment the EMTs arrived. We're very certain about our conclusion. Did you find anything else unusual about his body in your examination? Cuts or bruises? No injection sites, nothing in any cavities. Nothing at all, huh? The police mentioned a talk screen? Yeah. That's the thing. They ran a talk screen when he first arrived. Typical diagnostic intake procedure. Based on the emergency call, they figured he must have overdosed on something, but the talk screen gave them nothing. After he died, we performed the broadest screen as possible. Nothing. So were you forced to conclude this was a natural death? I didn't give up that easy. I took blood samples and compared their makeup with what was on record in his previous medical history. And I managed to isolate a single non-natural occurring chemical compound that wasn't there before. What was it? Some exotic toxin from a different hemisphere? I wish. Ran it through every available database we have access to. And even a few I only sort of have access to through some friends. Not only does it not match any known poison, it doesn't match the chemical makeup of any registered compound. So a designer drug, huh? That seems to be the best explanation. What the hell did you do, David? You said it didn't match any registered compound. What about compounds that aren't registered? Those friends of yours, private sector folk? Yeah, in pharmaceuticals. If one of them patented a new compound, a new drug, what would keep its formula from going on the record? In the private sector, intellectual piracy is the norm, so you're expected to protect your research aggressively. Patent first, find a use later? Yeah. Patent would have to at least describe your compound in brief, but depending on what country you file in. I've heard it may be considered prudent to keep the actual chemical makeup off the record. Smart. Using international IP law as your own personal minefield. How so? Sorry, Sam came up here and she wanted some rubbins. I had to get her eye boogies out. Whenever you're ahead, patent as much as you can, as fast as you can, but bury the formula so no one can know where it's safe to walk. Anybody small and ambitious comes along, finds a new drug they're excited about, you flip up your card, let them know you came up with the idea years ago. And that you'll give them a death. And that you'll give them death by 1,000 court dates if they so much as blink. Wouldn't work on anyone your size or bigger. They can punch back. But for the rest of the field, wow, corporate lawyers are scary. I'm not a corporate lawyer. So you came up with that strategy just now? So it's possible that this poison is actually a known substance? Something that the hospital could have easily identified? If it wasn't considered a trade secret? Yes, unfortunately, that is a possibility. Still, just because the drug is new, that doesn't mean it's original. Does the effect this compound had remind you of any other drug? Maybe one that's prescription only or a controlled substance? One you might know by another name but with a patented structure? Sorry, sweetheart, it's a general depressant. There are a lot of drugs that have that effect on the body, and they come in all shapes and sizes from all kinds of places. If the effect was unremarkable, what about its strength? Could you estimate how much of the stuff he had in his body all told? Not precisely, no. Not without detailed knowledge on its half-life. But I guess that it must have been about 20 milligrams? Is 20 milligrams a lot? Not for medicine. So this wasn't just an overdose of something relatively harmless then? No. Not if 20 mil was enough to crash his entire nervous system. Thank you, Yumi. Of course. So, you ready to view the body? We could skip it if you want. That'd be really cool, Sam. I would be there to watch it. That'd be really cool, Sam. That would be really, really cool. We could skip it if you want. I know most people get squeamish around corpses. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Okay then, let's get started. Alright, I'll just step out for a moment to give you some privacy. Yes, please. Thank you. Last time we talked was on a Sunday. You were complaining, I remember that. It's the principle of the matter. Right, you had ordered this cheap piece of shit sculpture or something by mistake. It came damaged and you wanted to send it back for a refund. It gently reminded you how, with your salary, it was literally not worth your time. I kindly offered to throw it out for you, since you're having so much trouble letting go. You're only offering because you want to see how loud it sounds shattering at the bottom of my trash can. In November, Sam? Ooh, I could play it around my birthday. That'd be so nice. I denied it, even though you were right and it was obvious. Should have let you have that one. I thought that he would look different. But he looks exactly the same as I remember. His skin is pale and he's very still. But his face is the same, his hair, his hands. You were expecting something more drastic? Last time I saw him, he was alive. He smiled and he told me he would see me soon. Now he is dead. Something is gone. And I can't find the difference. I'm trying to look harder. But I think I might just not be capable of it. I wonder why. why I was created to not be capable. Could be an issue of skill. Or maybe it's not something that can be seen no matter how hard you look. But it's there. I guarantee it. I've seen the transition enough times to be sure that between life and death, the distinction has significance. To the dead, at the very least. You're gonna smoke? Here? Now? I'll pay the fine. It's not the issue. Are you expecting me to fall to pieces? Real boys grieve in all kinds of ways, Pinocchio. And some don't grieve at all, it seems. I'm a cold woman. Sorry to disappoint. The hell? Why the hell won't this thing light? I don't know. You have your cigarette backwards. Alright, that's back into cold storage for him, so... Need anything else? Can you send me the chemical makeup of that compound you isolated? Sure, for what it's worth. Let me just... It's got carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen with hexagonal structures. So it's organic, but there's a number of metallic elements too. And if you had to speculate on its intended use, based on what we know of its structure, well, it certainly acted like a depressant, binding to receptor pathways and affecting the balance of neurotransmitter reuptake. Depressants are pretty rare in the designer drug scene. True, people are always looking for a higher high or a crazier trip, but a more powerful depressant will just make you fall asleep. Not much need to hit up the gray market for that kind of experience. No, there's not. I see. Thanks again. Been extremely helpful during a very difficult time. Hey, anything you need, give me a ring. That's very generous. Rockford's orders have got me on call, so I'm already getting overtime for the whole weekend. Glad to hear it. Goodbye, Yumi. And goodbye to you, Greenie. My name is Sarah. Nice to meet you, Sarah. (2:13), July 1st, 2086. Up on ramps and down off ramps, above skywalks and under tram lines. The buildings get progressively more polished as we head into the most economically developed part of the city. Corporate territory, national headquarters for the likes of Halo Industries, Laquan, Tethys, Nida. Each of them sheltering their own micro-city of employee accommodations beneath their skyscraper shadow. Whale fall. The entirety of the ocean floor coming together to feast and grow and live. Live off the fetid, rotting fat of the leviathans that swallow generations of people by the mouthful. Weight is commonly listed, and my weight is... Do I really have to disclose that? Noble lays claim to one of the largest shadows in the city, the towering nerve center for the whole nation's android industry. It's meant to be intimidating, I'm sure, but today I'm glad that Noble keeps such a sizable physical presence here. I need answers about David and his work on Sarah. Answers I'd never get browsing the company website or speaking to a representative. Synopsis. Relationships. There are typically trivia sections as well. Should I start there? Noble will have their guard up, of course, but even that will tell me something. Where they let me walk, who they let me talk to. History. Their efforts at performative transparency and clumsy obfuscation. Well, how did you know my father? What? I'm sorry, did I interrupt your brooding? No. What did you ask? My father. I know you were his friend. But what was your relationship like? Can't you just scroll through our socials? Father avoided social media and your online presence is not significant. You saying I don't have enough followers? Essentially. We went to the same college. You studied programming? No, I studied all kinds of different things as an undergrad, but not technology. Is that a good way to prepare for law school? I wasn't preparing for law school. Or anything else, really. David, though, he had talent, and he knew he wanted to do something with it. He studied programming, robotics, discrete math, cybernetics. What classes did you share then? Business ethics. I was the second best student in the class, and he was the first? He was the one who asked the most questions. Not sure about his actual ranking. He found the course challenging, and I clearly didn't, despite being younger. Guess he felt burned. He would come up to me after class to argue, and sometimes to ask for help. Father always talked about socializing like it was a chore. It was kind of you to give him a chance. What, like I was some kind of social butterfly, the belle of the ball? You weren't? One Sunday night, he knocked on my door all panicked, saying he was in bad shape for his tech course. There was a midterm or something the next day. I couldn't make heads or tails of the material, but I did my best to at least quiz him. He wasn't satisfied, though. Wanted to cram the rest of the night. Father had to cram for an undergraduate midterm? Did I say something scandalous? He's been called the founder of modern programming. Yeah, well, even founder types can have poor time management when they're 21. He was already fried by that point. It wasn't hard to tell what he was really asking for. So I went and stole a study aid for him. You stole a controlled substance just to help him with studying? No, that'd be insane. No, I just pocketed some breath mints from the common room. Told him to pinch his nose and swallow fast because the taste is so strong. You gave him a placebo. He already knew the content as good as he ever would. What he needed was to sleep. He could barely keep his eyes open by the time I got back from my daring heist. Didn't take much convincing for him to rest his eyes just until it kicked in. And the test? B+, I think. I'm surprised that Father stayed close with you after that. You stole and lied to him. I stole and lied for him. And David understood that. He was good at understanding things without me having to spell them out. But I guess that's not the kind of thing that gets passed down through programming. Anyway, we kept in touch after that. First year grad school, he published this paper. The Turing Solution, a framework for programming adaptive linguistics heuristics. One of his advisors came up with that title. David thought it was way too cocky, but it still hasn't failed any known Turing tests in the years since. Don't act like you're the one who deserves credit for it. Call me one weekend asking for advice on how to handle all the attention. Job offers, interviews, apprenticeships, invitations to immigrate. What did you tell him? I don't remember telling him anything, actually. A lot of our conversations went like that. He would talk to me about whatever personal or professional problem was stuck in his head that day, and I would nod while he wore himself out. And at the end of the conversation, he'd thank me, even though I haven't offered a single word of advice. He took Noble's offer and they took over his education. Hey, Schmorgs. Go to sleep if you need to, friend. It's really late. We're going to be going to bed very soon. Soon, too. Even though it's fairly early. He took Noble's offer and they took over his education. Paid him to work on his master's during the day and attend corporate training at night. And whatever else Noble may be, they were smart enough to start listening to him early. You're referring to his 1-point doctrine. Quality over quantity. Simple and elegant, just like his code. Simple and elegant, but anathema to a global corporation with supply chains designed for maximum capacity and just-in-time manufacturing. But obviously they got over their distaste fast enough. In the span of a few years, Noble's gone from making manual labor ads for meager profit to being the world leader in intelligence as a service. Even as he was making money hand over fist, he still kept in contact with nobody like me. I moved to the city for my apprenticeship. He helped me put a down payment on my apartment. Then made up excuses as to why he couldn't help me move boxes. So is that enough detail for you? Thoroughly convinced that he and I were in fact friends? I am. But Adonai, the favor that you owe him, what was it for? That's private. Understand? I have zero interest in talking about it with you. Say you understand. I understand, Adonai. We will be arriving shortly. Shall I send word ahead? Just tell them that David's lawyer is here. 2:49 p.m., July 1st, 2086. Noble Electronics Northeastern Headquarters. Sublobby A8. Sam, are you still here, friend? Or did you go to sleep too? Has everybody fallen asleep? Personally, I'm like right there with y'all, but I gotta play for another 14 minutes. I've been here before. Sat right here in this lobby waiting for David to come and treat me to lunch. At least I think it was this lobby. Could have been some other floor, could have been an entirely different building. All these corporate towers of Babel feel like interchangeable fractals to me. Folding in on themselves in patterns of narcissistic paranoia. So monumental in the scale of their hubris, they needed to use non-Euclidean geometry when drawing up the blueprints. Greatest minds of each generation coming together, just to find the most expensive way to shove their head up their asses. Adonai, is something bothering you? Just doing the math on how long we'll be kept waiting here. Apparently some will be here shortly. So maybe if I pass the time by glaring around the place, it'll improve my mood. To think this is only one room. This complex is so massive that it doesn't even feel handmade. It's like it was carved out of the rock by waves, like it's always been there. That's the con. If this place was actually natural, there'd be birds everywhere. I hadn't considered that. Why aren't there birds in there? Probably because of what they do to the ones that get out. I'm kidding. Though I don't have a better explanation. They changed the logo again. Noble Electronics. How does it feel stepping in here? Is this some kind of religious experience for you? It's just the corporation where my father worked. Careful now, they'll burn you for heresy against the company. You said it again, the company, as if it's a proper noun. You're mimicking the employees, aren't you? So it can't obey simple orders, but it can pick up on that? Is it just a part of the corporate culture? Noble's one of the biggest corporations there is. Noble's one of the biggest corporations that there is. One of the biggest that there's ever been. We mere humans can't hope to escape the gravity of anything that size, no matter where you live or how far off the grid you think you are. So imagine what it's like working for them. You live in company dorms, work in company quarters. Wherever you go, that logo lies above your head. You eat, sleep, and breathe on Noble's timetable, at its discretion. When you spend your whole life inside of it, Noble must feel big enough to be the only company there is. So much energy, so many people, all so intelligent. You kidding? It's Saturday, the place is half empty. But doesn't everyone work on Saturdays? All the parents do, so they don't need to find childcare on Sunday. Everyone else flips a coin, I guess. All these people for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. What could they all possibly be doing? Making work for themselves. You can be serious cynical, can't you? Yeah, I'm terrible. That guy over there, he's just been jiggling his cursor for the last 20 seconds. Whoever comes to agree us better have a pulse and some goddamn authority. My mood's starting to sour, and if they just send me the first link in their infinite chain of corporate bureaucracy, I'll make them wish. Morgan? That's me. Hey there, Android Manufacturing Quality Control Eastern Division. Evan Dawes. Evan Dawes, he says, like it's an afterthought. What's a name compared to your place in the hierarchy? You seem familiar, have you? I'm David's lawyer. Oh, then we must. Apologies. Let me be the first to say how sorry I am about his passing. You and everyone else at the company must be going through a lot right now. As if it's a proper noun. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. You're welcome. But it's no big deal. And compared to PR or legal right now, our workload in QA are never determined how I can assist you. Yes, that is correct. Fortunately, he wasn't able to finish the job. Look at that. It's definitely custom. Gee, you think? Good thing I sought out an expert. Warm, it goes without saying. Reminds me of the A16 Premiere, if anything. The barcode is clearly printed, no visible defects. But you're right. It doesn't correspond to anything we've got on file. Now they sent you the right man for the job. Now we just need to go to the right place. Not far, I hope. It's in the building. In the building. That can mean anything from down the hall to half a day's hike. The production line is on B9. Should we have everything we need? B9 is a fully functional production floor, but it was only built for demonstrative purposes. New clients make deals upstairs about how many and in what shape or size. Then they come down to the basement to see how the sausage is made. They have enough gas to build a fake factory for guests. Smart. So long as you're only giving tours and not giving away company secrets. You need to not worry about that. We'll take internet security very seriously around here. No kidding. There are 11 cameras on that I can see. And who knows how many pairs of modded eyes were aimed our way. Nothing. Ah, damn it. So if they try to claim ignorance about anything, it's gonna piss me off. Lead the way. (3:08 p.m. July 1st, 2086. Noble Electronics Northeastern HQ. Basement floor. G9. It really is fully furnished down here. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but it's pretty rare to get this. But it's pretty rare to get to see all this in person, you know? Would you mind terribly if I looked around for a moment? No problem. I've got some prelim paperwork I need to handle anyway, so have at it. Better take full advantage. I'll need more than cursory knowledge if I want to figure out where Sarah came from and why David wanted me to.